somewhere in Scotland, a couple of teenagers are looking at a photo of a creature that is said to be accurate, the water horse. The man does not believe in the mythology of the animal. On the other hand, the man said that many facts were hidden behind the photo. He told the story of the image. Long ago, during the Second World War when Germany had conquered mainland Europe, a boy named Angus MacMorrow really wanted to swim at the beach. However, for fear of drowning, Angus only looked for shells on the edge of the rock. He remembered when he was with his father looking for shells, then Angus saw a strange object. Not long after, his mother named and picked him up, and Angus came home with the thing. They had to walk quite a distance to get to their house in a small village with a relatively large farm. Angus has a sister named Kirsty. In addition, Angus was waiting for his father's return from his 5-month service, who was a Marine and had been away from home for a very long time. Then Angus watched the strange object he found and tried to open it. That night, because of a rainstorm, the barn door opened. Angus went inside, and the strange object turned out to be a broken egg. After that, a peculiar animal sound came from inside the barn, which turned out to be Angus gave him a potato and managed to stroke the creature's head. The following day, a troop of Scottish soldiers came to their house. Captain Hamilton said headquarters had sent them to stay at Anne's house and set up a defensive line against the Germans.
Come with me. Can you put my desk over?
The creature was so hungry that it bit Angus' father's shoe. Angus, who wants to eat, is not allowed by the soldiers now guarding the kitchen because the food supply is minimal. Angus brings food scraps in the trash for his new pet. He also got inspiration from a book and named his pet Crusoe. However, Angus still doesn't know what animal Crusoe is because there isn't a single animal that is physically the same as that creature. Then Angus remembered his father's story. Long ago, people talked about the existence of monsters living at the bottom of the lake. Then suddenly, Crusoe had finished all the food waste. Because Crusoe's body dried up, Angus put a lot of water into the trash can.
That's better, eh?
The army made a fort on the edge of the lake because the lake is the deepest in Scotland and is very suitable for enemy submarines to conduct surveillance. Captain Hamilton also devised a strategy to destroy the German submarine. When Anne entered the warehouse, how surprised Anne was to see her children's collection. Also, there were many photos of her husband, and realized how much Angus missed his father. Then a man named Lewis Mowbray came. Lewis was hired by Anne to help take care of the house, and his first task was to clean the warehouse. Angus panicked to see Lewis spilling water in the trash can. Strangely, Crusoe wasn't there. Lewis said that if the warehouse was to be his study, Angus refused because it was his father's office. But Lewis didn't care. Angus continued to look for Crusoe, who was found in the kitchen, after he was being chased by the army's pet dog.
Crusoe! Crusoe, where the devil are you?
When Kirsty was about to take a bath, suddenly, Crusoe was in the tub, and she was getting bigger. Angus wants Kirsty not to tell the secret to Mom. Kirsty also promised not to tell. Then Anne came to bring Lewis her husband's clothes. Because it turned out that her husband had died because his ship sank about a year ago, and visible scars were quite severe on Lewis's body. In this scene, it can be concluded that Angus actually knew that his father was dead, but Angus hoped that his father was still alive and returned home. Then, Lewis came to the bathroom to fix the drain, and then they both opened the door, and Crusoe was finally caught.
Who's there?
I'm here to fix the bathroom.
Out of order. These days. No, what is that?
Crusoe only wanted to be held by Angus. Lewis, who saw Crusoe's form, said that Crusoe was like a water horse. As the Celtic legend says, there is only one water horse at a time. When mature, the water horse will leave one egg before it dies. In addition, because the water horse is a hermaphrodite animal that has two sexes, therefore it can lay eggs alone. Then, Angus asks Lewis to keep Crusoe a secret from his mother, because if caught, indeed Crusoe will be thrown away. They both blocked in, who was about to enter the bathroom, and went and forced her way in.
Angus, Kirsty!
Assistant, man.
Lewis also advised Angus to put Crusoe in the lake, because the water horse is an animal that needs a prominent place to swim freely. The lake also has a lot of salmon, so the Crusoe can grow. But Angus wanted Crusoe to stay with him. Hamilton invites Anne to dinner with the officers. Anne is looking for a beautiful dress in front of the officers. And dadding, when dinner started, Kirsty took Angus to see their maids dancing with a soldier. The problem is the bathroom door is not closed. The starving Crusoe came out, and the fight between the dog and the water horse happened again. That night, Crusoe and the dog finally ruined the dinner.
What's that now?
Lewis was asked by Anne to find Angus and catch the dog. Meanwhile, Crusoe tricked the dog and went into the pond to eat all the fish there. That night Lewis kept looking for Crusoe, and suddenly, Crusoe was so big that Angus and Lewis had to take him to the lake. On the way, Lewis tells the story of a water horse, considered a magical creature that can grow 10 meters at night. Then Crusoe was finally released into the lake. In the warehouse, Hamilton asked Lewis to stay away from Angus and Kirsty, because Hamilton did not know who Lewis really was. But Lewis didn't care what Hamilton said. The scene changes to old man, who are fishing, then suddenly,
With horns! Devil!
Hamilton will train Angus so that the warrior spirit within him can grow and make him more disciplined. Angus' daily activities were lining up, cleaning Hamilton's shoes, peeling potatoes, and washing the car. Angus ran away when there was a chance to meet Crusoe. Because Crusoe didn't show up. Angus got on a boat towards the middle of the lake, shouting to call him. Until...
Crusoe! It's good to see you, boy.
Angus went around with Crusoe to see all the beauty of the lake. Until finally, one of the soldiers saw them. Angus also told Lewis and Kirsty, and was pleased to see Lewis being able to get close to her children and make them laugh. Lewis also said that the scars on his body were caused by shrapnel from cannon shells. It turns out that Lewis was a gunner on a torpedo boat until German planes bombed their ship. Then, Hamilton got an immaculate report about Lewis, a soldier honorably discharged for being seriously injured in the line of duty, which is even considered a hero. The grandfather fishing for fish intended to spread the story about the lake so it would be crowded with tourists. What's the goal? Of course, it's just for profit. The following day, Anne and her children were taken by Hamilton to their stronghold. Hamilton will show a simulation of a cannon that will be fired into the lake. Unfortunately, Angus couldn't stop the simulation.
But there's a creature down there. Captain Hamilton!
Angus!
No!
Did I or did I not tell you to wait over there?
And asks them to be driven home because she has lost respect for Hamilton, who yells at Angus. Because of the bombing, the two geezers who knew of Crusoe's existence would not be able to take photos because the creature would be afraid to reveal itself on the lake's surface. But the two of them did not give up for the sake of profit and made a fake water horse, which finally the photo is famous to this day. The photo of the fake monster was scattered everywhere. The soldier who read the news in the local newspaper was convinced by what he had seen and decided to hunt down the creature. and is now disciplining Angus by requiring him to sleep at 6 p.m. However, the news about the existence of monsters had already spread. Lewis secretly helps Angus escape and asks him to hide Crusoe's whereabouts. Crusoe goes wild at the memory of the explosion and runs away from there. The dog barked back at seeing Crusoe. The soldiers came in the barking direction while Angus and Lewis had to immediately help Crusoe.
So tell everyone where Crusoe is!
Mayday! We're on the loch, and we're under attack!
Because Crusoe continued to be fired upon, he could overthrow the army ship.
Where is it? Where is it?
Elsewhere, Hamilton apologizes to and for yesterday's incident. Then the troops announced that if there was an attack on the lake, Hamilton, who thought it was Germany, immediately ordered a counterattack. Meanwhile, Anne and Kirsty will pick up Angus. Then Hamilton escorted them both while requesting his troops to fire cannons if there was any movement from the enemy. Crusoe attacks one of the soldiers, and Angus tries to stop him. Crusoe's memory has returned, and he immediately helps Angus. Finally, he can breathe again after remembering his father figure.
You're the man of the house now. Need you to be strong and sure.
That's it.
And was getting angry because they reasoned that they had to save Crusoe the water horse. Likewise, Hamilton did not believe the words of his troops. Then suddenly, because the army thought Crusoe was a submarine periscope, the cannon was fired. Angus, who doesn't want Crusoe to die, rides him and takes him away from there.
He's not peaceful at all, sir. The damn thing tried to eat me.
Hamilton can't stop firing his troops because the radio isn't working. They also followed Angus by boat. Angus will take Crusoe out to sea and order Crusoe to dive under the lake, so they are safer. The gunners saw that a ship was chasing them. They stopped firing and raised the defensive nets, so the enemy ships could not escape. The net had already blocked the path to the sea. Angus was asked to release Crusoe and return to the ship, where he finally separated from his best friend. When Angus was on the boat, Crusoe jumped over the net. They all returned to land. Now Angus has come to terms with the fact that his father will never return. Then Crusoe looks far away, and how happy Angus is to see his best friend finally free. The scene returns to the present. The grandfather said since then, Angus never saw Crusoe again. Then, this grandfather introduced himself.
Thank you,
Angus. Angus McMurrow is the name.
A mother was looking for William's son after that. It turns out William was on the beach and found a water horse egg. Did you enjoy this video? Check out this other clips from Recap Go. Consider to like and subscribe.